Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, Glitchmaker, back again, and today I have some Danger Dark World test hands. This is definitely one of my uh personal favorite decks. I do like the non-linear combos that you are forced to do with this deck, and I like that. You get to make boards that are humongous and make you feel like you have absolute total control over the game until you get hit by Dark World or no more, of course. But let's see what the hand will be. Allure of Darkness, Brow, Bigfoot, Archives, and Rainbow. So we're gonna start by activating Allure of Darkness. Draw 2, banish a dark. Probably gonna end up banishing the. Let's banish the Brow because I don't think we need them as much. The Nessie makes me want to keep Bigfoot. Going to fire off Archives, and then we're going to activate Bigfoot. Always activate the dangers that don't give you advantage before the dangers that give you advantage, as you can always hit the dangers that give you advantage with the ones that don't, allowing you to summon a danger, draw a card, and then get more advantage. And we have dice. 3. Rainbow. And that's going to allow us to summon Bigfoot, draw a card, and we drew into Jackalope. And then Rainbow Overking is going to add a copy of either Grapha or Silva, but because we already have a Silva in hand that we drew off of Allure, we add the Grapha. Now, this hand isn't great because we still need a way to get stuff on board, preferably to try and get into Saryuja as fast as possible, with as little effect activations as possible. But the most efficient way to do it is the dangers. We can activate Nessie because Jackalope is going to give a monster on board no matter what, if we discard it or not. So there's 4. We roll a 4, we hit Nessie. The effect of Nessie is going to activate since it was discarded to search a danger. We're going to grab a copy of so here we can either grab Mothman or we can grab Chupacabra. If we had a danger that would give us a lot of advantage in hand, we would probably do Mothman, but we're probably going to want to do Chupacabra. However, we have Silva in hand, and we have Rainbow in graveyard. So, if we hit our own Mothman, we draw 1, discard Silva. Silva summons itself, and then we return it to hand with the Rainbow. So, grabbing Mothman. We're going to fire off Mothman because it's not going to give us as much advantage as Jackalope sometimes, so. Three, and we hit our Mothman. I do not have great luck when it comes to dangers, unfortunately. So we drew into Dark World Accession. We're going to discard the Silva, which is going to allow us to summon the Silva. We return it to hand to summon Rainbow. Now, there's some pretty cool plays we can do right here. We can either use Archives to discard Grapha, but we'd rather save that for a Dark World card that would give us a lot more advantage. Or we could activate Accession to make the fusion, which is most likely the better play. So we're going to be discarding the Grapha. We're going to banish the Mothman. We're going to summon Dragon Overlord. And this is going to be going to Graveyard. We can use this later in our combo because its Graveyard effect allows you to add it to hand and discard a Dark World. We're going to return Rainbow to hand to summon the Grapha. And then we're going to activate Jackalope. Jackalope right here is very scary because if we hit the Jackalope, we can't really continue the combo very well. So we have to hope that we hit the Jackalope. And there is Silva. So we're going to summon Jackalope. We summon Silva. And then we draw one. So, sorry, there was a fight going on downstairs. So we drew into Gates, which is really good. Right here, we're going to we would like to make Saryuja. However, we have Silva, and we want to get this back to hand, but we also have Rainbow Engrave, so it's not that bad. So we are going to activate Archives, discarding Rainbow, and we're going to boost everything by all the Dark Worlds by 800s, and then Rainbow is going to activate. We're going to grab a copy of let's do a copy of Grapha, because we're going to return Silva to hand. Actually, no. We're probably going to do Silva, because we can use it as an extender just if we need to. And plus, we may have to return it to bottom anyway, because of Saryuja. Return Silva to hand, summon Rainbow. And then we use these four to make a copy of Saryuja Skuldread, who is going to allow us to draw 4, which is Cerulean, Snake, Chupacabra, Snow. And then we have to return 3 to bottom. So we don't really need 2 Silva in hand right now. Cerulean would be okay, but we don't really have more than full combo right now, so we're gonna probably return that, and we're going to return possibly Chupacabra. So we're going to return Tsuchinoko, because sometimes levels do matter, very rarely, but they do sometimes matter. Bottom those in technically any order, but it doesn't really matter because you're just gonna turbo through your deck anyway. So we have 4 in hand. We probably can activate Gates here, and Gates effect, we're going to banish a Fiend Engrave. So we're going to banish Rainbow. We're going to discard Snow. And we're going to draw 1. Using Snow effect, we're going to grab a copy of Ginta, because Ginta is going to allow us to extend even more. We're going to use Ginta right away to search another copy of Gates. Oh, and we drew Mothman off of the Gates. The Danger's summon effect is not once per turn, but the discard is. So you want to keep that in mind sometimes, because sometimes that will come up. We're going to send this to grave to activate the second copy of Gates. And we're going to activate Gates, banish Ginta. And Gates And Gates has a really good synergy with Chupacabra because Chupacabra is a fiend, unlike most of the other danger monsters. So we can actually discard Chupacabra and to draw 1, and then Chupacabra can activate to summon a danger from grave. So we'll just summon the one with the most defense just in case. And then Ginta can also summon itself because it was banished. Now here it's possible to make Apollousa with 4, but there almost always is a way that's better than whatever you're thinking. So you always want to think. Technically, we could just Saryuja effect, summon Silva, and then just return it to hand, which is most definitely the best option. So we can do that. So we summon Silva. Return Silva to hand to summon Grapha. You're going to make a link for Apollousa. So that's 4 materials. Then our opponent might have forgotten about it, but we can activate Accession, return it to hand, and discard any Dark World. Silva and Beige are really good for this, because they're going to summon themselves anyway. So we're going to summon Silva, we're going to return Silva to hand to summon Grapha. And it's possible to be able to make IP here. In fact, we've never used our normal summons, so we can technically just slap down Mothman and make IP, which is definitely the safest way to make IP. So we can normal Mothman and put these two into a copy of IP Masquerena. And then we can set a copy of Dark World Accession. Just in any zone, pretty much. And then we still have 2 in hand. We have a Silva to discard off of this, which will hand rip my opponent for 2. And then a Bigfoot, in which if it does get discarded, we can pop a card. Which is, well, technically pop a monster, but it's still really good as interruption. So, on to the next test hand. As you could have probably tell, Danger Dark World combos take an extremely long time. That was actually fairly short compared to other combos that I've done before. Sometimes your main combo can take upwards of 25 minutes because you can just turbo out so much stuff. And you're going to be drawing, and you're going to be doing all this stuff to make a inboard that can get you to 6, 7, 8 interruptions sometimes, which is absolutely insane. Sometimes you just get Sanaphond, and that's just a floodgate for summoning from grave, which does hurt you, but it can also hurt other decks even more than it hurts you. It's you, because you already have the end board. And the hand is Beige, Ginta, Snow, Brow, and Nessie. This is a pretty okay hand. When you're playing this deck, you always want to try and start with Ginta. So Ginta effect is going to add a copy of Gates. The copy of Gates is going to be incredibly good as you have a copy of Snow in this hand, which means you're going to get even more advantage. So we activate the Gates, banish Ginta, discard Snow, draw 1. We're going to trigger Snow as 1, Ginta as 2. So you can make sure your search off of Snow goes through, just in case. And we're going to grab a copy of Rainbow. because we have a danger in hand, and if we hit Rainbow with the danger, we can get more stuff. We can get another copy of Gates, which is already extremely easy to do in this deck. So we have 2 Brow, which when those are discarded, we draw. We have Beige, which if it's discarded, it summons, and then this searches if discarded. And we're going to activate the Nessie, as that's the only danger in hand. And activating a danger with 4 or more cards in hand is almost always your best option. So, and that's a 1. So we hit a Rainbow, which is incredibly lucky. Nessie, draw 1 off the danger. Rainbow, because we drew 1 off the danger and it was graphic. Rainbow can actually get us Silva instead here. With Snow, you sometimes want to search Accession if you already have access to everything else, because it'll make sure that you have a near unbreakable inboard. So now we can add Ginta back to hand, summon Rainbow, activate Ginta, and Ginta's search effect is not once per turn, so it is extremely good. You always want to play 3 of it, though. Even though if you draw it as a top deck, and unlike your second turn, and you already use Ginta, it's kind of a dead draw unless you somehow got the Gates back in deck, which you don't really need to do because you're going to be killing on your next turn anyway. But the summon effect on Ginta is a hard once per turn, so be mindful of that. Activate Gates. We're going to use Gates effect to banish a card. You still want to banish Ginta, as you still, just in case you can get Snow back into your hand. Now here we can either discard Brow to draw another card, which is hopefully a danger, or Beige, which is another summon, or Silva, which is also another summon. But since we don't have Rainbow in Graveyard anymore, we want to discard Brow. So we're going to draw 1, then Brow is going to draw another, and we have our 3rd copy of Brow in hand. But we also have Bigfoot with 6 in hand, so activate Bigfoot. Now, if Bigfoot does get hit here, our combo is pretty much dead for the most part. So we need to hope to not hit Bigfoot. 1 again. And we hit Brow. So we're going to summon Bigfoot. Draw 1 off of Bigfoot. Draw 1 off of Brow. We drew into a lure, so we can activate that. Draw 2. And now we got Mothman and Blackwing Zephyros off of that. The Danger Jackalope off of the Bigfoot draw, which is pretty much fixed our hand. And then to banish off of a lure, we can just banish our 3rd Brow, because we already drew into almost everything already. Now we can activate we probably activate Mothman here. Oh yeah, and by the way, Zephyros can return Gates, so you can activate Gates again, and then get another free advantage loop going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. Hit Zephyros. You summon the Mothman. You get to draw 1, which is Snow. And then we can make a copy of Saryuja Skuldread. So, we are definitely popping off pretty well here. You get to draw 4. This is one of the hands where you just open the turbo nuts and you just get to pop off. Return Bigfoot, because if it gets discarded, we're not going to really get advantage. We can discard Nessie if we want to. but we don't have to. Or return Nessie, I mean. We can return our second Silva. And then we can return a copy of let's go Beige. Because we are already just going to pop off anyway. And if we need them back, we just search them with Snow. So now we have an incredibly strong grip. So here we're probably going to activate Nessie. Because a summon is always better than a search. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll the dice. 4. Should be this one. We hit Rainbow. So we're summoning Nessie. We're drawing 1, which was Ginta, which we don't really need. And then Rainbow is going to add Silva. And as you can see, my hand is getting quite big, quite fast with this hand, with the amount of effects I'm activating, though it's very hard to push it back past 6. We can actually have Saryuja special summon Snow. You can return Snow to hand to summon Rainbow. So we have another guy on board. And then we're going to activate Jackalope. And then we're going to roll the dice and hope we don't hit Jackalope. That was a 6. Going to hit Grapha. Now, Grapha only... We don't actually activate Grapha in testing because Grapha just pops an opponent's monster, so the only reason we would actually have that effect activate is if we had Cerulli on our opponent's field. And if Cerulli discarded Grapha, you also get to pick a card from your opponent's hand. If it's a monster... Yeah, if it's a monster, you summon it to your field, which probably will come up IRL, but this is testing. We can activate a copy of Mothman here. And we need to hope that our discard is either Snow, or we hit or we draw it into an accession so we can actually have it. 5. We get Silva. So we're going to summon the Mothman. Draw 1, which is another Ginta. Summon Silva. And we're going to make Oppo, but first we're going to return Silva to hand to summon another Rainbow. And then we're going to make a Link 4, preferably using at least one Rainbow if we have 2 of them. Then we make Oppo. 4 materials. This inboard can still be really good, though. We can still just make Bagooska here, which is still quite good. Which is probably what we'll do. So we can normal one of our Gintas here because we never normaled. As you could probably tell, we only use normals for extension. And then we can return our Rainbow on field to hand to summon Grapha. We're going to overlay for number 41. And because Link monsters can't be put into defense mode, Apollosa can't be negated by Bagooska. And if it was possible for us to get another discard, which it actually still is, because we have Blackwing Zephyros. We return Gates to hand to summon Zephyros. And then we take 400. Activate Gates, effective Gates, to banish a copy of Brow. Discard Snow. Draw 1, which is Beige. Snow's effect is going to activate, allowing us to grab Accession. And then we can go ahead and make a copy of IP Masquerena. And then finally we can activate a copy of Dark World Accession, banish Grapha, and we can also discard a Rainbow to summon Dragon Overlord in defense mode because Bagooska's on the field. Overking's going to activate, grab Grapha. If you summon a monster in defense mode while Bagooska's on the field, Bagooska can't negate it because it can only negate monsters' effects that it switched into defense mode by its effect, and not monsters already in defense mode. We activate Accession, returning it to hand, and then we can discard any Dark World. Here we could probably discard, I don't know, Ginta, because we don't want to clog our zones anymore. And then we just set the Accession. And if our opponent somehow manages to out this, we just activate Accession, discard Grapha, and pretty much any other card, or we can banish a Dark Engrave to summon out Grapha number 2, which is still really good. Most of your extra deck you don't really use unless you're going second, or it's to summon enough of IP, or you need to OTK your opponent, time, specific matchups, so you're not going to be seeing most of your extra deck and testing, unless you're testing with another person who's playing a variety of different decks. But anyway, as you can see, this deck takes absolutely forever to combo off. And when it combos off, you can make boards like this that look near unbreakable. So we can, beat our opponent, make sure that they don't get a chance to play the game, and then come our turn, we can just beat them up, essentially. And that is Danger Dark World Test Hands. I will see you guys next time.